Well, we've already seen huge numbers when it comes to absentee voting, and that is going to continue. And in fact, more in person locations are about to open up. Isaac Kramer with the Charleston County Election Commission joining us. Absentee voting is kind of his thing, and he joins us now. First of all, Isaac, let's talk about those huge numbers that we've seen statewide as far as the number of people who've, number one, asked for an absentee ballot, and already the number that have come back.
Yeah, this election, especially in Charleston County, this is record so far turnout we've ever seen. So in the first 2 weeks, actually, let's go back to the first week of absentee voting at the Coliseum here. We did more this first week of 2020 than we did in 2016, the first 2 weeks of that completely, like way more. And yeah, and we that was kind of unexpected, to be honest with you. And I think the Coliseum has been a great location. We're very appreciative to be using that facility, but it's a central location on 526. I think a lot of people know where that is, and we're excited. But let's not forget also the other requests that have come in, which is the by mail, which our office has never seen over 65, 70,000 requests for a by mail ballot. Put that in perspective, 2016, we only had about 20,000 requests for a mail ballot. So almost more than triple. So absentee voting is a very popular thing for the 2020 election.
Some of the concerns about the mailings coming to fruition, and I know a lot of the critics are jumping on that, saying, see, this is what happens, and happened in a couple of the St. Andrews districts where 1,300 ballots went out, and they were missing the county council race that, a lot of people, to their point, I mean, those are some of the most important races that impact you on a daily basis because they are so local. What happened there? I know clerical error is what we've been told.
Yeah, simply those voters were mailed the wrong ballot style, and that's been corrected. We have issued them a new ballot. It will have a purple stripe. So most of our return mail will have, all of them so far has been green stripe. That's been our Charleston with the Charleston logo. Those voters will get a purple stripe to distinguish that for them with a letter letting them know what happened. Because we agree, every ballot needs to be 100% correct, whether you're voting in person on a machine or by mail. And obviously with the mail, that's going to get more widespread attention. But these mistakes also happen on election day with poll managers sometimes selecting the wrong ballot style for a voter. Right. But we've corrected that. And we agree that we want you to have complete trust in your election office and everything about this process. That's why we introduced Ballot Scout for you to track your ballot in the mail stream. But we really apologize for the error that occurred, and we're doing everything. And we have all those ballots have been reissued to those voters. They should actually be in their mailboxes over the next couple days.
And was that the only thing? It was just that race was missing? I say only. It's a huge thing, but the rest of their ballot, how they filled it out, because they can't get that back now, the people who voted in person or who have already sent it in. That's the only thing that was missing on there, right? Or that was incorrect?
Correct. So everything else, the federal offices, State House, State Senate, those offices were not impacted. So we're, obviously no matter what, error occurred, that we can't take that back, unfortunately. But what we can do is come up with a solution to give our mail voters, the by mail voters, the ballot that is corrected with that letter and notice about it.
Part of the experience for a lot of people is they want to vote in person. They've been nervous about the crush of people going on election day. We've had the Coliseum open now for a couple of weeks, but starting Monday, 3 more in-person options open up. Talk a little bit about those, how this all works for somebody who wants to go and get their voting done.
Yeah, so starting Monday, the 19th, we'll be open at Seacoast, West Ashley, Seacoast, Mount Pleasant, and the downtown main library off Calhoun, which that's a brand new location. Voters have never seen that. And the library, our library system here, they want to help at all possible what we can do with voting in Charleston County, which is tremendous. I love that partnership. We're so thankful for that. They've opened their doors to let us there. So starting Monday, it doesn't matter where you're registered in Charleston County. You have to be a Charleston County voter, but any registered voter in Charleston County can go to any one of those locations. So if you work downtown but live in Mount Pleasant or West Ashley, on your lunch break, head over to the library. It doesn't matter. Everyone qualifies this election to vote absentee. So you just show up with your photo ID, and it's just literally like you're voting on election day. You'll be signing a tablet, you'll be given your ballot card, and you go to the machine. And what we've seen, hands down, and I think the media has seen it, social media has seen it, Twitter, everything. People are really impressed with, the operation we have here with in-person absentee voting. The longest wait times are 30 minutes at the Coliseum, and that's at the height of the lunch rush and the morning rush, while other counties across the state are seeing 2 to 3 hour wait times. So I'm very proud of our staff. I'm proud of everyone that we've worked hard with training to make this a very seamless process for our voters. So vote when you can early, because once you get to the last week, week before the election, it will be a longer wait times because of that many more people trying to vote.
Yeah, and just think about that. What would that would be like if we didn't have this in-person opportunity? What that would be like on election day? It'd be crushing how many people would be in line, and then you'd have to have socially distanced lines. So it would be wild. You mentioned the 30-minute wait times. How many machines are at these locations when we look at these in-person options?
Yeah, so we have 15 machines at each location. So there'll be 2 reserved for curbside and then 13 inside the location for voting. So put that in perspective, that's almost double what a lot of our polling locations across the county on election day will have. So we're able to just serve that many more voters in a quicker, reasonable time. But it's also a longer ballot. So if there is any wait times, it could be at the machine, just because the length of the ballot with referendum questions and people want to review their choices correctly. But also, I just want to just point out, this is very important for everyone to know, that if you are in line by 5 o'clock, so our hours are 8:30 to 5 for absentee. If you're in line at 5, you're going to be able to vote. It's kind of like election day. So please make sure that you're aware of the 8:30 to 5 times, because every single election, we always have people coming in around 6 or 6:30 saying, hey, I'm here to vote. So just make sure absentee voting is open 8:30 to 5, but we also have 2 Saturdays, the 24th and the 31st on Halloween. The hours are 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at all our offsite locations.
And when you show up to vote, masks are not being mandated, but they're certainly encouraged when we go into these places. What other precautions are being taken at these in-person locations?
So at the in-person locations, we are using the facility of the entity that owns the building. So for the library, for Seacoast churches, we have to wear a mask, and voters will have to they have to wear a mask. So they'll be given one when they come in. If they have any issues with that, they can vote curbside. But the thing is, we have to follow what the facility is telling us to do. So you will have to wear a mask if you go to the library or any of the Seacoast churches.
Well, that brings up an interesting question. Then on election day, will those same rules follow depending on where you're going?
No. So the best thing for us is, the facilities we're using for absentee voting are not being used on election day. So we've already established with the absentee voting, because it's a longer duration of time.
Gotcha.
You're talking 30 days to 14 days. So election day, you're not required to wear a mask, but you will have to socially distance. We'll have, the ability for people to take the proper precautions. And that's obviously our concern is the safety, the health of our voters during the pandemic. And so far, I can tell you that it's been pretty seamless at the Coliseum. All voters have been coming with masks, and they've been socially distancing, and we've been getting a lot of feedback that it's been a great process.
Question about the ballots. If you requested one by mail, most people have them by now. If they've requested, they're coming out. I know somebody I talked to just the other day. They requested theirs, and 3-4 days later they had it. If you have it, you fill it out. You go to any one of these locations with that ballot to drop it off?
Yeah, that's a great question. I forgot to bring that up. So the great thing about these offsite locations, they're also designated drop-off spots for your absentee by mail ballot. There will be a dedicated drive-through lane, so you don't even have to get out of the car to drop off your absentee ballot. So for the library, where you normally would drop off your book, there will also be a drop box manned by an election official. That's key. So the law changed. We'll still have the drop box, but you'll hand your ballot to an election official who will deposit that ballot into the box. Okay. So yes, if you're in Mount Pleasant, you've been waiting, you don't want to mail your ballot back, guess what? Seacoast, Mount Pleasant, you'll have a lane where you can drop off those ballots. Same thing for all the other locations. We've gotten a lot of great feedback on that for the Coliseum. People see it, they've likened it to Chick-fil-A type of service.
Whoa,
To the voters.
that's high praise.
That's high praise, especially here in the South. So, we're getting a lot of great feedback on what we have in place for voters to drop off their mail ballot. And just remember, this is just Charleston County. If you're in Dorchester or Berkeley, you need to drop off your ballots to those prospective counties, and do not try to drop it off at one of our locations. You'll be told, we don't accept any other county's ballots.
About those absentee ballots, it went back and forth probably 7-12 times, it seemed like, about the signature. You have to have a witness signature on those mailed out ballots. Does that also hold true if you're handing it to someone in person at one of those locations?
Yes. So the witness signature is required on all ballots. The good news, however, if it is your ballot, you're dropping it off, our election officials can be your witness. And we've always been a witness for voters who don't have one. However, if you're dropping off someone else's ballots, let's say your spouse, you need to have a yellow form. It's included in every ballot package. It authorizes you to return their ballot. It has to be signed by the person who filled out that ballot. So you can't just have a yellow form and say, hey, it's got to be signed by the voter. And we can't witness those ballots because we didn't see the person. We don't know who that is. And the person's not in front of us. So just make sure dropping off someone else's ballot that you can be their witness. Any South Carolinian, anybody in the whole world, doesn't matter who you are. Like our director, Joe Debney, his son, he always has his son witness his ballot. So just to give him part of the civic process. And it's pretty cool because his son gets excited every time he gets to sign his dad's ballot.
What are those restrictions? What is the witness restriction? I mean,
no restrictions. No restrictions. Can be anyone.
It could be anybody who can write their name?
Yes, anyone who can write their name.
Awesome. So I could have my 3-year-old witness my ballot, my vote?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you that was part of kind of the concerns with the witness signature. Obviously, the Supreme Court weighed in on that, and our state legislature weighed in on it as well by not removing it during the last session. But to be honest with you, it's hard for us as election officials to, as long as it's witnessed, if there's a signature there,
right,
then we have to accept the ballot. So there's no security protocol for us to be able to match that with anything in the system. As long as it's signed, then that ballot is good.
Gotcha. Important note, I was just thinking about for people who have those mail-in ballots, most of them are front and back.
Yes, there are 2-page ballots for every single voter.
Okay. So make sure that you fill out both sides if you have that mail-in vote. Again, you can take them to those locations. They are the North Charleston Coliseum, the Seacoast churches, Mount Pleasant, and West Ashley. I know the Seacoast and Mount Pleasant's on Long Point. Where's the West Ashley location?
The West Ashley location is at the Seacoast, right off 526 and 17.
Okay, and then downtown Charleston, everybody knows where that is.
You're right off
in
Calhoun,
the main library.
Right across the Gilliard Center. Yep.
Isaac Kramer, Charleston County Election Commission. He is Mr. Absentee. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to the Election Commission. But again, all of this kicks off this is the stretch run here when we open up these new locations starting on Monday. It'll be interesting to see how everything goes, and we'll check in with you about that next week, I'm sure.
Well, thanks, Brad. I really appreciate the time to talk about it. But also, real quick, if you're voting downtown at the library, we will give you a voucher to park at the Gilliard for 1 hour parking. So if you have concerns of paying to park, we will have that available. We'll give you a voucher on your departure after voting.
That's a great point. Isaac Kramer, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.